Alright, hello and welcome everybody to a brand new video over here on Tactical Pikachu. This is going to be a little bit of a different style video, not something you've probably seen me do before. The gameplay that you are seeing is me playing PUBG with William Salt, Assassinite aka Mike from COA Creators, and Griffin over on the COA Gaming channel. A link to all of their social medias, their YouTube channels, will be posted in the description below. Unfortunately, we won't be talking about the gameplay today, but we will be talking more about YouTube. YouTube in its current space, my current thoughts on it, and what it means for the channel. We'll go ahead and get right into it and start talking about the YouTube Adpocalypse. This started earlier this year. I want to say very close to the beginning of the year, maybe March or April. I don't exactly have a exact date when it would happen, but I remember it started with two things. The YouTube Adpocalypse 1.0 started with a perfect storm between PewDiePie's Nazi jokes. This is perfectly explained by he hired two guys to stand out on the street with a sign that said "Death to all Jews." I can kind of see where he was coming from. Later, he was trying to say, make a point that he could hire anybody to do that, but yet it's really not a good thing to say in the first place. So that stirred up a lot of controversy, and he actually got kicked from Disney's Maker for that issue. That and also the Wall Street Journal brought to YouTube's attention, and also the rest of the world with one article, was that Coca-Cola ads were being shown on a ISIS recruitment video, which is also not very good at all, because advertisers do not want to be they don't want to be mixed up with any extremist groups or anything that promotes the killing of other innocent people. So yeah, Pepsi pulled out, then Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, just to name a few, but advertisers were pulling out left and right. YouTube was in a panic frenzy to try to recover the advertisers and get them to come back. And that was a loss of billions of dollars of revenue. So YouTube's crackdown went down to the content that could be viewed as violent or extreme, and it affected a lot of gaming channels. Just due to the nature of games, and just the let's face it, a lot of the games, even the games we play here on this channel, are fairly violent. Call of Duty, Rainbow Six Siege, Battlefield 1, all stuff we have dumped into, all very fun games, but they inherently are violent. So the YouTube algorithm was trained to target these violent content, which has affected a lot of gamers. I've seen gamers like CNNers and Chilled Chaos and people like that tone down the style of games that they play. Maybe not the stuff that they say personally, but just like more like I've seen them playing golf with friends and Shell Shocked and things like that. So people that very well have changed their content because of this, just to make sure that they are still making revenue. That leads us to the Adpocalypse 2.0, which is a more recent issue, maybe within the last couple of weeks. After a while, YouTube did crack down. Finally, I wouldn't say they found a good spot, but they were finally starting to find a good spot where the algorithm was hitting. And more recently, they have started implementing tools for creators, like the monetization buttons, the yellow, green, and red buttons that tell you if you're monetized or not, or anything like that. So they were starting to get that into place, but something more sinister and disturbing was found, and I'd say this is actually worse than Adpocalypse 1.0. Randomly generated, and usually generated by search terms, there's these cartoons that are generated by search terms, and they're geared for kids, and they were starting to show some grotesque and disturbing imagery. I don't know if I can find any screenshots. If I do, I will show them up on the screen. But just things like cartoon characters like Elsa and Winnie the Pooh just like eating poop out of a toilet, and just disturbing things like that, like Disney characters taking pills. It's all just very gross and very disturbing to see, and it's just generated by whatever was popular that day. It's very odd. But even more odd are the channels that were depicting real children going through these scary or disturbing scenarios. A good example is the clown videos where children would be attacked, almost looks like they're being attacked, tickled by clowns, which is very creepy in its own sense, but to children would just be disturbing, and honestly, as a child, that would terrify me. I was an easily scared child, and something like that would just haunt me for weeks and weeks. And these are being targeted at kids. Things like Toy Freaks, which was the big point of this controversy, was a 5.8, but I may have that number wrong. It might be the other way around. It might be 8.5 million subscribers, but it had over 1 billion channel views, and it was just getting view after view from these kids, and it's just disturbing. It's kids that are far too old being taught to act like babies. The dad was asking them to do some extremely bizarre things, and just things that as an adult I find disturbing. This, along with an appalling amount of comments on these child content, not just the disturbing ones, but even just innocent ones of kids opening toys, kids doing reviews, kids doing Let's Play channels, just these appalling comments from pedophiles, and an alarming amount of them. I think that right there is the straw that broke the camel's back, and that led to brands like HP, Adidas, and Mars to pull their ads from YouTube, sparking yet another wave of the adpocalypse. Actually, Mars even pulled their entire ad front from Google in general, and in their press conference, or their press statement, they said, "We will not be associating with Google and YouTube until they get this this problem fixed." It's a big deal, and honestly, I don't think that YouTube has had ample time to fix this one yet. But the first thing that YouTube did was release one of the biggest bans of channels across YouTube ever. That included 50 channels and hundreds of users that were just leaving these disturbing content and comments. This is just appalling to me. It bothers me a lot. So what does all of this adpocalypse nonsense mean for my channel? Well, my channel was started in March of this year, so just over about 8 or 9 months ago. So not that long ago. And this was shortly before the adpocalypse began. It was starting to head this direction where I could definitely see the steam train starting to hit, where people were starting to notice that these videos were getting marked on extremist groups, and ads were showing up there. So it was definitely starting when I had just started my channel. My channel has never been reviewed for monetization. I am eligible for monetization, that's what it keeps telling me, but I just don't have the views yet to be reviewed for monetization. And I don't feel like YouTube would want to touch my content with a 12-foot pole. I mean, let's face it, if you've watched any of my videos, my content is not child-friendly. And I think that's a good reason why YouTube hasn't tried to pick up my channel, whether with monetization or even a boost with the algorithm. I don't expect YouTube to work in my favor, to be honest. YouTube's more focusing on a child-friendly, kid-friendly, family-friendly atmosphere, and honestly, the type of content that I put out is just not that. Mine is much more reminiscent of classic machinima-style YouTubers where, you know, they just say whatever they want to, and honestly, that's what I think is funny. That's the content that I like to watch, and that's the content that I want to put out. So I don't blame YouTube at this point for not monetizing me, for not picking me up with the algorithm, but also it is frustrating because this used to work for other people making the same type of content. Yes, I'm less polished, yes, I'm less experienced, but that's the type of content that I want to put out, and the type of content that I would like to refine and like to get more experience with. So, I mean, I'm not going to change my content just for YouTube's sake. That being said, I won't leave YouTube permanently. YouTube has been such a huge part of my life since I was 16, and honestly, I don't think I could ever stop making content. Even if I stopped making content consistently, I would still put out a video every so often. I enjoy editing. I enjoy putting these videos together, so I don't think I would ever stop posting things to YouTube. However, with that being said, I do plan to change my primary content source, whether that be Twitch or Mixer, or maybe the next YouTube or YouTube-like streaming service coming up. Once my internet is able to handle it, I will be switching to streaming. It just works better with my schedule. It's way easier to put out content, much better for recording. So Twitch is looking like where I'm going to be putting most of my primary content, but I still want to do YouTube. I still like editing. This is where most of my media practice comes from. The editing here, helping with the COA game creators. You know, just helping out with scripts and producing and directing videos and making my own content, doing my own editing. That's how I get most of my practice. That's where I'm going to be building most of my experience to take to a job someday, or even make this my job. So for the most part, my content will be moved at some point, but YouTube will never not be a place to see me. I will always be here. I will always have videos. I will always be consistently posting, whether that be consistently posting once a month or once a week or once a day. There will always be videos here. And that's the same with most of my other social media. I mean, like, I'm not super consistent with my Instagram and Facebook right now, but I plan to be, and those things will start to get picked up. But as for now, do not worry, because YouTube is my home. I have my concerns. I have a fair amount of mistrust for the platform. Honestly, I don't trust YouTube and the way that they handle creators right now. They have not been trustworthy with us. They have not been straightforward with us, and that's just the facts. Like, for as much as I love YouTube, I love you as a platform. I love you as developers and you know, people who put their heart and soul into it. You just haven't been straightforward with the fans. That's just part of what it is, and I've accepted that. That's fine. If that's how you want to run things, it's your platform. But in the meantime, just like my dad has always taught me, if a job is not doing or giving you what you think you deserve, spend that meantime when you're not at that job to find another. So just like that, I will be looking for another primary source to be putting most of my content. So that's sort of the good bad news. I have another vlog that I want to do coming up, showing you guys my new setup. I got a new computer, so I'll be recording different games like PUBG and just computer-based games, which I'm super excited to do. And also, I will have a spiritual successor to this video. I'm going to have one of my buddies over at COA come on, and he is an expert on the current landscape for YouTube and what you guys should do to create your own content. So I will be having him on here very soon, and I hope you guys will stick around and look out for that in the next couple days. Without further ado, that's really all I have left to say. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button beneath and consider subscribing. And absolutely let me know what you think about what I've said. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think that I got something wrong that I need to fix? Was my facts right? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And that being all, I will catch you all later.